morning. Phillip Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. I appreciate everyone showing up today, listening, watching the videos. Thank you for everyone coming and commenting. Today's video comes by way of a user, Mike K3099. One of the things I love about the channel, as the channel is starting to grow again, the channel is, I get some challenging questions, some things that people comment on, and it can be a little off-putting when you hear people say something negative in the comments. And it was a video that I said that they're buying land right underneath your noses. And I get this question a lot. I've heard this question or comment in many real estate talking points, especially about land, especially about owning a house. And I'm going to just make the case to explain to people why, yes, the statement is true, and why it matters though at the same time. So I did this video talking about they're buying land right underneath your noses, because a lot of people do not understand that land, available vacant land to develop and build on is very limited. So when you have that limitation and people are in a buying and selling process, a lot of people are only interested in the hot market right now. What is available to sell so I can get the highest profit margin, I can get the most bang for my buck. And that's great when you're short-term thinking. But remember, in this channel, we're dealing with long-term thinkers, higher level thinkers, because our focus is on creating generational wealth through land ownership and the ability to buy land cheaper that is eventually going to be more expensive. That is the model of how I started this business. That is how I've become successful enough to be able to talk in front of you, to become an author. So I'm walking and talking it. And I've been doing that since I started. Before I even showed up on a video, I made sure that my life reflects the things that I teach, the mentality I speak of, the land that I buy. I don't sell someone else's property, I sell my own property. So I put my skin in the game, and I've never faked it till I made it. Now, with that being said, the issue comes up where I did that video talking about they're buying land right underneath your nose. And one of the commenters, Mike K3099, and thank you for your comment, he said that, even if you buy or own a home, own land, you still have to pay property taxes. And if you don't pay property taxes, the land, they could take the land from you, they could take your home for you, so you never truly own it. And that statement is true, it is. But if you do your research and you look throughout history, even in, let's say, Roman times, even in, Africa, even in, early man, cavemen, whatever, depending on the economic or when I say economic, I'm talking about when civilization was more, like when we had actual civilizations, we had city-states, even in Japan and feudal state times. No matter what area of human history, land was never like static, meaning that you never, it was always fluid. Somebody could come in, burn down your whole village and take out everybody out of the whole town. You look at movies like Conan, where they, have more barbarian type. You could have another tribe come in and literally subdue and subjugate a whole tribe that they conquer, enslave them, and you lost your land, right? You lost your land, your town, your family, everything else. Hell, slavery pretty much outlines that you can be taken from your own lands and sold as a product yourself to somewhere far off in another place. So when you look at the system we're in now, has it changed that land can be taken from you? In fact, if you were not one of these stronger economies, stronger tribes, you could be taken over by the Roman army. You could be conquered by just a neighboring, just your neighbors could take your land. The clan, the chief, the clan, when I say clan, I mean, the old term clan, not the clan. A clan chief could decide that your lands were taken. You could be just taken off the list by a rival, and your land could be taken. So when you look at the fact that you have to pay property taxes to maintain the area around you. I got to go through this light because it's getting slippery right now, so there's no way. Then the property taxes serve a different purpose. And that's the part I'm going to jump into now. But I really want to set it up that, yes, while it is a valid point, it's not a point that you need to look at and say, well, that's the reason why I never own. You can't have it really both ways. Because again, you as a property owner, you have rights that you can defend yourself and protect yourself from, that the same legal system that taxes you allows you to have some defense of. And that is something that never existed before. And, you know, African tribes, since everybody wants to go, you know, take the go back to Africa thing, you know, again, you could be subdued. The Zulus have subdued many other tribes, went to war, and it's not like they said, okay, you guys just go ahead between your tails, between your legs. They're taking it all. You had no say in whether what happened to your family. You had no say into the safety of your children, your wives, babies. Sometimes a whole genocide occur, an ethnic cleansing, which is still happening in Africa today. So, and this is no longer, you know, in response to the video from you know, the comment from Mike K3099, it's more about the general understanding of, yes, property taxes are a part of the system put in place. Now, before everybody goes and throws shots at the government, I'm going to make a defense on why you should understand that there is some value in you being taxed on it, on vacant land, no matter if it's far out or close to, because vacant land still will operate the same way under taxation, property taxes, no matter the distance, in the sense that that land is governed by the county. It's in my book, Getting Dollars from Dirty, Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. I talk about this. And when you're in a developed city like California City, where I sell the majority of my land, go to ancestrylands.com and get yourself, go look at some property, because it's exactly the kind of land that you should be looking at if you are a long-term thinker. And long-term, I'm talking about maybe, you know, 5 to 10 years out. Those property taxes, which are $200 a year, there is a responsibility of ownership that all of us have to partake. The same responsibility that you have when you have a mortgage for a house. Paying off the land and keeping the land with upkeep, proper upkeep, is part of the property owner's responsibility. It's part of ownership. You can't just own something and it's title and that's it, and look, I own it. No more than you own a car and you use it. There is a level of upkeep, whether it's forced in the form of government taxes, property taxes, or it is something that your car breaks down and it requires update maintenance. You know, when your tire blows out, your car tells you, hey, I need to be replaced. You don't go and say, well, I own a car now, I'm done paying on the car. The car is going to charge you maintenance. Anything that you own requires upkeep. I mean, I would say you own your own body, but your body requires, it breaks down. It still taxes you in some way. That's just the exchange in life. The property taxes that you're being charged also give you some legal representation because you are the owner. Someone can't just steal your land like it used to be. Like the barbarian can't come in and claim your land. There's a title process that happens that talks about the chain of ownership, the chain of title. And the property taxes are paid to the same county that maintains the fact that you own land. That's the same county that approves development or residential, commercial, because, you know, again, these commercial buildings y'all love to talk about, everybody loves to own. Well, the same county that does charge you taxes is the same one that's responsible for making sure that you are now able to, I guess you could say, you know, enjoy the benefits of the equity that we all see in the now housing market. The equity that you enjoy, that many homeowners talk about, is done because long time ago there were economic developments in the town that you live in. I hope you don't think 200 years ago every town in America looked like it is now. They didn't have Wi-Fi and high fiber optic cables in those towns. There wasn't internet towers and Wi-Fi routers and pools in every house. They didn't have the luxuries that we now have that are pretty much necessities for us. Those were luxuries back in the day. Those property taxes maintain the roads. You could say schools, depending on, we could have that conversation about America's schools, but the fact that you don't have to homeschool your children and can go to work and send them to school is also where those property taxes go into. So a lot of times people are complaining about the system in which they exist in, and it won't change no matter where you go, so long as they do give you property taxes or tax you on that. The other thing that people miss about it, we can eliminate the conversation about schools. We can eliminate the conversation about the other ones. How about emergency services? Because I covered this in my book. If you are living way outside, because everybody loves those movies about the guy in the cabin who's an assassin and he's far off, he's got his own land, hunt, he's free to do whatever he wants. The second you get an injury that requires medical attention, now you're back in my camp, the medical services have to get to your location. How hard is it when someone, is in an avalanche on top of a mountain because they're snowboarding and an avalanche happens? How the emergency services, it's not a guarantee they're going to get to you. The property taxes also maintain the roads, or it maintains the infrastructure so you can have drinkable water. If you're like in California City, you're in city limits, you're on city water. It maintains the purity of that water. It maintains the police, the crime. If your house is being invaded and you need emergency service in the form of police, which everyone ends up calling at some point for some reason, because we talk gangster, but when it goes down, you dial 12. And when it happens, what do? You have to be in their jurisdiction. You have to be in their area where they serve and they enforce. That's one of the reasons. So when you own vacant land that maybe not be developed, well, your property taxes are very low. Like I have some properties that are still in this area that is growing, and they're about $200 a year. It's not the same as you're paying property taxes on a home, but that's the responsibility of the homeowner. Because again, the system is set up so the house that you live in is, you're going to eventually die one day, and there's going to be new owners. Those are supposed to be the people who inherit your legacy. The home is supposed to be passed down. And the same system that you've enjoyed the benefits for are supposed to be there for the people that you've left the home to behind. So you can't just enjoy the benefits, but then complain about the system that's designed to give you the equity growth that you love and appreciate. And this is for the majority of the homeowners. Yes, the homeownership is now unaffordable, but once you get in, you're in. You now are in the game, in the system, where that is part of the rules of engagement. It's like you playing in the NBA and complaining about fouls. You getting fouled. Fouls are part of the game. Or you get the ball stole from you. That's part of the game. The bad part of the game is also part of the game. The fact that you have to guard somebody a particular way, that's part of the game. And again, when you are born into a system, children have to be taught to understand the matrix that we all exist in. The matrix is way down to your local area, to your state level, to the federal level, to the national level. You got local politics, you've got neighborhood politics, you've got your city politics, your county politics, your state politics. Just because a state is blue, like a Democratic state, that doesn't mean every state every county in that state is a Democratic county. There are some red counties in a blue state. This is how states turn from red to blue, Democratic to Republic, or they lean left or lean more right. That's how this is played. So if you don't teach your kids the kind of politics, the matrix that they exist in, you're not going to understand something like property taxes. It's not going to make sense. I've got to pay property taxes every year on, 50 properties that, again, I don't actively do anything other than try to sell them for. Now, I make a profit selling those properties, but that allows me to put my kids in tutoring. I can't complain about the property taxes that I have to pay when I'm looking for the outcome of profitability. So again, you have to understand that, yes, while us as citizens complain about certain things, it could be much worse, man. Don't forget, Native Americans once owned the same land that you're sitting on. They had that game too. The land is everyone's and it's from Mother Earth. No one owns the land until someone came in and took the land. That's why we have where are all the Native Americans that are out and they no longer own this country. This country's owned by corporate executives, a corporation, and politicians. So you can play that argument all you want. You better start playing the game and understand the best way to beat the system is to be in the system competing against the system. The movie in the Matrix let's look at the Matrix, right? The first of the 3 series of the Matrix, not the new whatever they have going on afterwards. Neo had to go in the Matrix because the Matrix was being eaten up from inside. Mr. Smith was corrupting the Matrix from the inside. The humans tried to damage the Matrix from the outside, and they didn't. What did they do? They put everyone inside, all the physical bodies, mentally went into the Matrix. And that shows you, if you go back and watch that, the only way Neo could win is if he defeated the virus inside the system. So there's the connection for you, is that the only way to beat the system is to be inside the system. Because there's no way to win when the people who own have set it up so that way the only way you can be at the top is if you play. The only way you can make decisions, the only way you can threaten or be a person that is of a threat is to be in the system. Because your brokes can't do nothing when you don't own anything. That's the goal. Is push more people out of the system so they can no longer play the game. The further you are away from the drinking pond, the more you're going to suffer. Which is why, if you look at crocodiles or alligators, they've done and survived for so long because they're at the one source that all animals need. They can eat because they're inside the Matrix. They've never needed to change. They've just gotten better because they've been inside the Matrix this whole time. And that's all I've got to say for today, folks. I hope you've understood these high-level analogies, the way I broke this down. You know, it is understanding why you need to pay property taxes and enjoy the benefits of real estate ownership. And again, for my subscriber, Mike K3099, thank you for commenting on this and giving me, you know, something to explain upon and answer a little bit more in detail about something that you commented on. And that came from one of my YouTube shorts. That's why I love this channel. And then I have a negative comment. He had a good point he made. A great point to make out, and I wanted to respond to it to give you a little bit more food for thought. And I appreciate his comment, and I hope this opens up a constructive and positive dialogue for the people watching this to comment below. Don't be afraid to comment and sometimes challenge a point on something that you may disagree with me on. I'm okay with it. I just don't like commenting in there where they're going to say something smart and they're not going to be having a real honest conversation that is a good dialogue, because I thought about what he said and I reflected upon it and I said, man, you know, it's something to consider. You know, and I was respectful in commenting back to him because he did have a point. He had a really great point. I'm assuming that's a he. But any which way, folks, Phillip Davis, Ancestry Lands. Don't forget to go on Amazon to get my book. The link is in the description section below. Also, folks, AncestryLands.com is where you can go to find property so you can have the problem with paying property taxes. And remember, folks, you're either going to own property or be owned as property. Phillip Davis, Ancestry Lands, and I'm out. Peace.